For example, in 5 seconds it travels 10 kilometers, and next 5 seconds it travels 10 kilometers. So, and next 5 seconds it travels 10 kilometers, means what happens here, in the same equal intervals of time the body is also traveling moving with the same distance, means obviously we call it as it is a uniform speed. If you say the distance, if you say as a displacement, it is called uniform velocity. So, it is a uniform velocity. So, see, when you observe the conditions here, generally the bikes are giving advertisement. So, here the fuel efficiency is 97 kilometers per hour, they will give the advertisement. But if you see conditions apply, when you read the conditions, they will ask you to, you should not use what you call it as a brake more number of times, you should not change the clutch more number of times, clear, and the same time you have to maintain the uniform speed, then only you can get the that kind of fuel efficiency. These are the conditions. So, here we are using that word uniform speed. So, uniform speed means here in equal time intervals, if the distance also equal, then such speed you call it as simply as uniform speed. If in equal intervals of time the displacement also same, then we call it as uniform velocity. It is clear. Okay. Now, the velocity measurements may be of two types. Just now I said average velocity, velocity over a large interval time, or instantaneous velocity, velocity over a very short interval of time. This is a very important. For example, so if you want to know that the speed of a vehicle at a particular instant, what is the speed? Recently so many polar satellite vehicles or rockets or launched satellites are sent to our universe. So, here they are observing the motion of the rocket for each and every second. At a particular place, what is the speed or what is the velocity of that body, if you want to know that. So, that velocity is called simply instant velocity. So, but the children, these words are little bit of different, but I am going to say the instant velocity here we are using limit delta t tends to 0 delta s by delta t. Of course, no need to by heart of this one. So, and no need to confuse about this formulae also, but just we have to limit means here where we are going to calculate is not possible accurately, generally we will use the limit. For example, I will give a small example. See, when you take a polygon n sides, when you increase the number of sides of the polygon enormously, then what will happen? At last it becomes as a circle. Is it exactly circle? No, it is not exactly circle. So, it tends to a circle. There we use the one concept, call it as a limit. Is it clear? So, now here I am using a limit delta t tends to 0. Delta means here very small quantity, a small change of intervals which is very near to 0, and there delta s by delta t means here in the particular time interval generally we have a very little amount of displacement. So, that will be considered as delta s by delta t, which gives the we simply call it as instant velocity. Okay. Now, I am using one more word, call it as average velocity. Average velocity. For example, if initial velocity is u and final velocity is v, then u plus v by 2 is called it as simply it is a average velocity. Like average means here simply, generally you know that average means, what is meant by average? What is meant by average? Average is nothing but the sum of the quantities by number of quantities. If there are two quantities like initial velocity and the final velocity, then obviously its average is nothing but u plus v by 2. Am I correct? Okay. This is a one more word, call it as average velocity. Okay. When we use the average velocity means here the velocity over a large intervals of time. okay, then we call it as average velocity. For example, a train move from Hyderabad to Vijayawada, if there is so nearly 400 kilometers distance from these two destinations. So, the train will move from one area to another area, of course, with the various velocities. So, simply generally if you want to know the average velocity, then we can get the average velocity by using this formula. Okay. I have a doubt here. So, when you are in a railway platform, when in a railway station, you are waiting at a railway platform. So, the Godavari comes the first platform as follows. So, there is some indicators. When you observe it, general, engine, sleeper, okay, means sleeper course S1, S2, S3, S4 like. So, if you observe that the train driver exactly mostly very nearly they stop at the what are the indicators, how driver knows it, or where those places are exactly, how he is able to stop that. And you are very there is a that engine is not stopped by suddenly, you know very well. A train engine you can't stop like a bike or a car. So, he has to maintain that one, means here that is nothing but a calculation. So, when he applies the brake for a particular distance, then after applying the brake the engine will travel such distance. First they will calculate it. After calculating the distance, there simply they apply the brake. So, gradually the acceleration of the engine decreases gradually, at last it come to rest an exact position. Even how these pilots will land the aeroplanes, there is also some calculations about it. Clear? There we are using the average velocity and instant velocities also. Is it clear now? Okay. Now, I am going to explain acceleration. One more word, call it as acceleration. Have you heard this word acceleration any time? Maybe all are very aware about this, well aware about these things. In any four-wheeler vehicles, when you observe it, there are three, of course, three operating things are, we call it as ABC. Am I correct? A is accelerator, B is brake, C is clutch. See, there is an order. So, when by you applying by operating with the right leg, we are applying accelerator and brake, and generally we will operate with our left leg clutch. Clear? So, here there is a word there, I am using the word called accelerator, means which accelerate, which gear up the body is called accelerator. In a bike also we have accelerator, means it's increased speed. So, generally, so that is called acceleration. So, acceleration may be uniform or non-uniform. Uniform or constant acceleration requires that the velocity increases or decreases at a constant rate, while non-uniform acceleration displays no regular pattern of change. Of course, we can say very simple mode. We can say very simple mode here. So, we have two kinds of accelerations. One is called uniform acceleration and another one is non-uniform acceleration. So, uniform acceleration means here in the particular time intervals. So, the change of velocity is also so equal, then we call it as uniform acceleration. Am I correct? So, that is called uniform acceleration. Is it clear? Okay. Now, before going to that, acceleration, I want to give a clarity about acceleration. What is meant by how you define acceleration or how you describe acceleration? Means here just you are using, just now I am saying So, by applying the clutch or without operating the brake, just we are raising it, means here there is an increase in the speed of the vehicle, correct, with respect to time. So, the change of velocity by time, the change of velocity by time is called acceleration, simply A. A equal to change of velocity, simply we can write it as this one as V minus u by t. When you send it this one, at is equal to V minus u, send u that side, then V is equal to u plus at. This is the first equation of a motion in linear motion. V is equal to u plus at. Very simple. So, no need to by heart, just understand. So, by using the definition of acceleration. What is acceleration? Acceleration is rate of change of velocity. Now, I have a doubt. Acceleration is scalar or vector? You can say without any second thought it is a vector. What is the reason? It is nothing but change of velocity. Change of velocity. Velocity is a vector. So, obviously, acceleration is also a vector. It is clear. Acceleration is a vector quantity. Okay. So, now acceleration is a change of velocity by time, or you can change it when you divide anything, of course, any physical quantity with the time, simply we call it as that is called rate of change of. Children, so just understand that. So, rate of change of linear momentum is called force, rate of change of displacement is called velocity, rate of change of velocity is called acceleration. Once you call the word as rate of change of, so simply you can say it is that physical quantity are dividing with the time. When displacement divide with the time, we call it a rate of change of displacement, which is called velocity. When velocity divide with the time, so that is called rate of change of velocity, we call it as acceleration. When you divide the momentum, linear momentum of a body with the time, that is rate of change of momentum, we call it as force. Of course, you are going to learn the force later, not now, but just for practicing that rate of change of. See, the children, is a very important. So, it is a physical science, it is a science. So, we have to express your ideas with respect to science terminology only. You have freedom, you can write in your own sentences, no problem at all. But, so when you are writing the concept, you have to incorporate the terms. చిల్డ్రన్ ఇది మీరు చాలా జాగ్రత్తగా గుర్తుపెట్టుకోవాల్సింది ఏంటి అంటే సైన్స్ని మీరు ఎప్పుడు రాస్తున్నా సైన్స్ టెర్మినాలజీని మాత్రం ఖచ్చితంగా టెర్మినాలజీని రాయాలి, మన సొంత భాషలో రాయటం అనేడానికి ప్రయత్నం చేయకండి. అందుచేత మీరు ఏం చేస్తారు అంటే సింపుల్గా మీరు ఒక చాప్టర్ని, ఇప్పుడు ఈ చాప్టర్ని నేను యాక్చువల్గా మీ టెక్స్ట్ బుక్లో చాలా ఇన్ఫర్మేషన్ ఇచ్చారు, జస్ట్ ఐఎమ్ టేకింగ్ ఓన్లీ ద వర్డ్స్. సో ఓన్లీ సింపుల్ వర్డ్స్ వీ కాల్ ఇట్ యాజ్ దట్ వర్డ్స్ యాజ్ వెరీ సింపుల్ వర్డ్స్, కాల్ ఇట్ యాజ్ రిలేటివ్, మోషన్, rest, clear, displacement, distance, velocity, speed, acceleration. These are the words you learned, correct? So, you have to use these words. Of course, there are some subwords also there, call it as simply average velocity, instant velocity, correct? Okay, average acceleration or uniform acceleration, of course, there uniform velocity also. So, I hope all the children you have to prepare once again the mind mapping and just write the mind mapping, and when you keep it in, then it is very easy to understand here. See, in my knowledge, because I am the professional author for this IIT books also, in my observation most of the questions, especially in IIT exam or MSET exam, whatever it may be, national level exam or state level exam, the major part of the questions comes from the kinematic chapter. So, this is very important, children. You have to understand that kinematic concept. Once you understand, it is a key concept for the rest, because this kinematics will be converted as a next one is development is dynamics, aerodynamics is there, thermodynamics is there, fluid mechanics is there. So, if these are the different connectivities, once you understand the base concept, then it is a very easy. So, I hope if you follow these concepts, then every children will feel that physics is a very simple one and is highly relative with our life. So, before going to conclude these words, so I am going to give the once again your first question when I start this conversation with you, that is why the sky is blue. This is a very, very important one. Dr. C.V. Raman, who is a Nobel Prize winner of our especially our country people. So, he won the Nobel Prize for his experiment that is called scattering of light. So, the scattering of light is the main reason for why the sky is blue. Is it clear? And I asked one more question to you, why the water drops are in spherical shape. So, are you brainstorming about this here? Among triangle, quadrilateral, other shapes, the circle occupies, of course, spherical shape occupies more area when you compare with that, obviously. So, that is for that reason it gets the minimum volume. To get the minimum volume of it, generally water droplets, not only water droplets, any liquid drop is in terms of spherical. Okay. And you know that Vinayaka drank the milk. అమ్మజీ వినాయకుడు పాలు తాగుతున్నాడని ఒక ప్రచారం వచ్చింది. నిజంగా వినాయకుడు పాలు తాగుతాడని జరుగుతుందా? అది జరగదు. నిజంగా తాగితే ఎవరు పాలు పెట్టరు కదా. మరి పాలు పెడుతున్నారంటే అక్కడ కారణం ఏంటంటే దట్ ఈస్ కాల్డ్ capillarity. So, when you dip it, there is some small holes. In that holes generally air bubbles will form. It causes air pressure. So, it uplifts the that milk or water, whatever it may be, that is called. Okay. And I asked one more question. This the ants, the చీమలు, చిన్న ఇన్సెక్ట్స్ కూడా వాటర్ పై నడవగలుగుతున్నాయి, మనం ఎందుకు నడవలేకపోతున్నాం అనే క్వశ్చన్ అడిగాను. సో, అది మీ అందరికీ తెలిసి ఉంటుంది. వాట్ ఈస్ ద రీజన్? దే ఆర్ లైటర్ పార్టికల్స్. ఓకే, ఐ విల్ యాక్సెప్ట్ ఇట్. But when you see the surface of any liquid, like it is elongated membrane, బాగా సాగదీయబడినటువంటి ఒక పొరలా ఉంటుంది. So, that is called due to call it as surface tension. Okay, these are the words. See, for each and everything, every phenomena which happens in our surroundings, in our daily life situations, when you observe it, each and every one with connected with one of the physics phenomena. So, the children just make interest, maybe because we are of course our honorable secretary sir announced this year as Einstein Operation Einstein 2015. So, we want to make it as you as Einsteins. So, you as Einsteins. So, children, I hope all of you will enjoy this and perceive these concepts very well. So, I hope through these classes you will get good concepts. So, thank you children, and thank you very much. I hope all the little Einsteins will take rest and recall and recapitulate all these things when they are free. Thank you for listening.